Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Kalalal, Yahweh Bashim Yoshai. First and foremost, as always, I just want to give all praises, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yoshai, Bahashem Rakah HaKodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone of GMS that do rule well and that do teach well, that have taught me this truth. To you I say Shalom, and Shalom unto the hopeful elect. This is the son of Zion signing back in, and I just want to push that vibe out there that having sex on the Shabbat is wicked, and you're going off if you're doing so. You're not supposed to be doing that. I've been seeing a lot of videos come up as of late by the elders and apostles on how having sex on the Shabbat isn't right, because that's what's being pushed out here by these different Israelite groups and camps. They're saying that it's okay to have sex on the Shabbat. When I disagree with that. I disagree because the Shabbat is made to be, is set up to be very holy, and just because having sex is lawful, sometimes, man, when you come to serve the Lord in certain circumstances, man, you have to abstain from lawful pleasures. Having sex is a lawful thing. It's not against the law, but it makes you unclean when you have sex. And the Shabbat being a very holy and solemn day, you're not supposed to really be unclean. And I want to go into that. So, nothing wrong with having sex. It's lawful, but it still makes you unclean. So why would you want to be unclean when serving the Lord on the Shabbat? That ain't right, man. You got problems if you're thinking like that. You got problems. So the first video I watched today was from GMSVegasSitdowns 144K. Link will be in the description, of course. It says teaching and excusing having sex on the Sabbath is deliberately wicked, and that's true. I concur. Next one that I watched was from Elder Apostle Tahara's channel, Whatisthe666mark2 GMSTruth. Link will be in the description. It says understanding, remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy. For you fake Israelites out there, I agree. I 100% agree, because it's written in the scriptures, man. Alright, so I concur. Alright, so I'm going to start off with Exodus chapter 20, verse 8. Remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy. And this is a command, so you're commanded to do this. Verse 9, 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. So 6 days throughout the week, right? You're supposed to be working hard. Alright, nothing wrong with that. You got to work hard. You got to eat, right? You got to labor. Sweat off thy brow, right? Verse 10, but the seventh day is the Shabbat of Yahweh Bashim Yoshai, thy power. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. That's right. So everybody that's in your house, man, you're not supposed to be doing work. That includes you, your family, your servants, even the animals, man. They're not supposed to be doing any work, because it's a solemn day. It's very solemn. Well, it's really a holy day. Same thing. Right? So we're supposed to be meditating upon the Lord's precepts and just keeping it holy, righteous. Exodus chapter 31, verse 14. Ye shall keep the Shabbat, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. And it's hard to keep the Shabbat holy to the fullest, because in Babylon, due to the laws, it's hard for you to exercise the law, statutes, and commandments, yet alone the Shabbat day to the fullest. Right? So you're going to fall short in certain areas because of how the society is. You may have to work that day. But there are things that you can control. You can still control not having sex. That's very easy. You're in control of your body. Right? No one's forcing you to do anything. So you can actually control that. Now, if you're still having sex on the Shabbat, that's actually on you. Right? So if you're in the know, you understand that you shouldn't be having sex on the Shabbat. You shouldn't be doing it. And really, when you're doing those things, when you're doing that, having sex on the Shabbat, especially if you're in the know, you're opening yourself up to death. The Lord can actually kill you and take you out. Now it says, for whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. There you go. 6 days may work be done, but in the 7th is the Shabbat of rest, holy to Yahweh. Whosoever doeth any work in the Shabbat day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Yashar'Allah shall keep the Shabbat, to observe the Shabbat throughout the generations for a perpetual covenant. That includes your children, and this is supposed to be passed on down to your children. Your children are supposed to keep the Shabbat. So a lot of Israelite children, they're not keeping the Shabbat. You know, a majority of these Israelites, 2/3, they're not keeping the Shabbat. But we're gonna get it back, man. You remember, right now, you know, Israel has discontinued from their heritage. But in the kingdom, man, we're all gonna be righteous. We're all gonna be practicing the Shabbat. Now, here's the point. I want to go into. Actually, you know what? Let me get this precept. Let me get this. Got a couple more precepts. I'm going to get Amos chapter 8, verse 5. And it says, saying, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn? That's right, because the new moon dictates the new month. And the new moon itself is a Shabbat. It's holy. It's a time of rest. It's a day of rest. And it says that we may sell corn in the Shabbat, that we may set forth wheat, making the ephah small and the shekel great, and falsifying the balances by deceit. So yeah, they're just asking, okay, you know, when is the new moon gone and when is the Shabbat gone, so we can go out there and make some money? That's what they're asking. Right? But this also shows that the new moon and the Shabbat fall on the same day, you know, are all the same. You know, the new moon is actually the new month, and it's a Shabbat, right? So that's just proving, you know, the new moon itself is actually is holy, and it's a Sabbath, and you're not supposed to do any work. All right, so let's move on. Isaiah chapter 66, verse 22. For as the new heavens and the new earth, which I will make, shall remain before me, saith the Lord Yahweh, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, okay, and the new moon is a Shabbat, and from one Shabbat to another shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith Yahweh. You see? So, yeah, it's a time of worship, the new moon and the Sabbath, right? It's a time of worship, and you're supposed to worship the Lord. So that means if you're worshiping the Lord, you're coming towards the altar. Right? If you're coming towards the altar, hey, the altar itself has to be acceptable, and you have to be clean before the Lord. Now let's go into an example, going into how having sex makes you unclean, or how you shouldn't be unclean while taking part in the Shabbat. Right? You got to be clean. So this is 1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 24. So David hid himself in the field, and when the new moon was come, the king sat him down to eat meat, and the king sat upon his seat, as at other times, even upon a seat by the wall. And Jonathan arose, and Abner sat by Saul's side, and David's place was empty. Nevertheless, Saul spake not anything that day, for he thought, something hath befallen him. He is not clean. Surely he is not clean. Yeah, because anything could happen in the field, right? You can come across a dead carcass, a dead body, or you may lay down with a woman, right? So there's many ways or many things that can cause you to become unclean, right? And that's why King Saul thought that David didn't show up. You know, maybe he was just spiritually and physically unclean. And the reason why David didn't show up is because he didn't want to defile the new moon, which the new moon is a Shabbat, by the way, which we just proved that in Amos the 8th chapter. So there you go. That's one point. Now let's go into sex or copulation, because copulation makes you unclean, right? So this is Leviticus chapter 15, verse 16. And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, so he ejaculates, right? According to the Hodge twins, bust all types of nuts, right? Busting nuts. Then he shall wash all his flesh in water and be unclean until the evening, right? Or the even. Yeah, so even though you wash yourself, you're still unclean until the even, until the sun goes down. Verse 17, and every garment and every skin whereon is the seed of copulation shall be washed with water and be unclean until the even. So that includes your garment, your clothing, that could be your bed sheets, your pillow, wherever your love stains fall upon, it's unclean. That includes your flesh as well, right? So it says, whereon is the seed of copulation shall be washed with water and be unclean until the even. Verse 18, the woman also with whom man shall lie with seed of copulation, they shall both bathe themselves in water and be unclean until the even. So that even includes yourself and your woman, because your woman is receiving your seed. So she's dirty, right? So she's dirty. But even though you wash yourself, you're still unclean until the evening. So knowing this, why would you want to have sex on the Shabbat? We know that the Shabbat is a holy day, right? And you're coming before the altar of the Lord, and you yourself, you're the sacrifice. Why do you want to be unclean for that? That's very serious. And like I said earlier, having sex is lawful, but when it comes to serving the Lord in certain cases or circumstances, you actually have to abstain from lawful pleasures. And that shouldn't be a big deal. That shouldn't be a controversial issue. But unfortunately it is with certain Israelites. But come on, man. You guys need to grow up. You guys need to grow up, man. You guys need to grow up. This is Psalms chapter 26, verse 6. I will wash mine hands in innocency, so will I compass thine altar, O Yahweh. You see that? Yeah, so you have to abstain from sin. And you got to stay clean. Okay, so you got to abstain from sin spiritually and physically, and also you can't make yourself dirty spiritually and physically. That's so you can go near the Lord's altar. All right? All right, and by the way, what's going on the altar? You're going on the altar. Right, pursuant to Romans, the 12th chapter. Now, let me get another one. This is Psalms chapter 24, verse 3. Who shall ascend into the hill of Yahweh, or who shall stand in his holy place? He that hath clean hands and a pure heart. And that's spiritually, first and foremost, but also physically too. Okay, but spiritually first, but it also plays out in your flesh. Who hath not lifted up his soul unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfully. There you go. Exodus chapter 30. I'm going to start at verse 20. When they go into the tabernacle of the congregation, they shall wash with water, that they die not. Or when they come near to the altar to minister, and the modern day altar is you going out there on the highways and byways, and you making these videos, or you partaking in the Shabbat and the different high holy days, man. That's the altar. Okay, whether you believe it or not, man. And you should believe it, because the Lord, man, he opened us up to the Holy of Holies spiritually. So now we can all enter the Holy of Holies, right, spiritually. So you need to come correct, right? A lot of you Israelites, man, you don't understand how solemn this really is. You're playing with fire, man. Hey, the Lord is a consuming fire. This is no joke, man. And it says to burn offering made by fire unto Yahweh. By the way, the person who opened us up to the Holy of Holies is Yahweh Shai. Okay, when he died. Okay, the veil was split in two, and that's how we were able to gain access to that. That's why we got this truth today. So this shouldn't be a big deal. Why is this so hard to understand? But hey, pursuant to Jeremiah chapter 2 verse 21 on down, hey, we have degenerated so much, and that includes other Israelites, man. I'm gonna just say it, just because you know who you are in this day and age doesn't mean you're really right. So anyways, it says, to burn offering made by fire unto Yahweh, so they shall wash their hands and their feet, that they die not, and it shall be a statute forever to them, even to him and to his seed throughout their generations. So yeah, you got to be clean spiritually and also physically. Now, yes, there's an altar, but what is going on the altar, especially in this day and age? You're going on the altar. So if you're that sacrifice, doesn't a sacrifice need to be pure? Doesn't a sacrifice need to be without blemish or spot? It definitely needs to be clean. And that's on all levels. Hey, and that shows, man, you shouldn't be, hey, you should be correct when you go out there to minister, right? Or when you're going out there on the highways and byways, or you're making these videos. You shouldn't be dirty. You shouldn't have love stains all over you. Right? You should be clean. Right? I'm just saying, you should be. Right? You should be. You shouldn't be filthy. You shouldn't smell like feces. You shouldn't smell like seed. You should be clean when you go out there. All right, man. Now, let's go into Romans chapter 12, verse 21. And now it says dedicated service. So, hey, man, if you're dirty on the Shabbat day, spiritually dirty and physically unclean, if you have love stains all over you, and if you're having sex on the Shabbat, you're not really dedicated. You're not dedicated, man. And really, you're not serious. And that's what these videos are telling me. Certain Israelites out there, they're not really serious. And they don't understand what they're involved in. So, this is Romans chapter 12, verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the Most High, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service. Right? So you're a living sacrifice, and you got to be holy and acceptable. So it's unacceptable for you to be dirty, pursuant to Leviticus 15, what we read earlier, 15 and 16 to 18. Seed of copulation. That's unacceptable. If you bust all type of nuts on the Shabbat and you're unclean, that's a very holy day. Okay, so it says, which is your reasonable service? Yeah, so this is what you're supposed to do. Verse 2, and be not conformed to this world, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most High. So yeah, you're not supposed to be conformed to this world, and the world deems it acceptable when it comes to copulation. Like they're very free. Well, not free. Like they're very how can I say it? They're very loose when it comes to expressing their sexuality. You can have sex all you want. Right? You can do it in the butt. You can do whatever you want. You can have sex with animals. You can have sex with anybody. You can have sex in the church. You can have sex in the temple. Hey, and that's that type of spirit that these Grecians brought, which are you Edomites, because that's what they were doing in the temple. You know, they were having sex in the temple. They were defiling it, and that's the same spirit that's on you Americans, you Babylonians today. And that's why these Israelites, man, they feel that it's okay to have sex on the Shabbat. You know, your mind isn't really renewed if you're thinking that way. Something's wrong with you, man. Something's wrong with you, telling you. Anyway, it says that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most High. That's right. That's right. And like I said, man, there's nothing wrong with having sex. It's lawful for you to do so, right? But, you know, when it comes to serving the Lord, in certain times, man, in certain cases, you have to abstain from lawful pleasures, man. And the Shabbat is just one of them. Now, I'm going to just bring this out. And I'm just going to go into the ordinances for the Levites, which, by the way, we're all priests. So when we come before the Lord, we got to be clean, man. And that's the point that I'm trying to push. You got to be clean. You got to be spiritually clean, and you got to be physically clean to the best of your ability. Okay? And there's a lot of things that are still in your control. There's a lot of things that you can control to be clean. But you got some Israelites that are just not doing it. Okay, so let's start here. This is Ezekiel 44 verse 16. They shall enter into my sanctuary, and they shall come near to my table to minister unto me, and they shall keep my charge. And it shall come to pass that when they enter in at the gates of the inner court, they shall be clothed with linen garments, and no wool shall come upon them, whiles they minister in the gates of the inner court and within. They shall have linen bonnets upon their heads, and shall have linen breeches upon their loins. They shall not gird themselves with anything that causes sweat. And when they go forth into the outer court, even into the utter court, to the people, they shall put off their garments wherein they ministered, and lay them in the holy chambers, and they shall put on other garments, and they shall not sanctify the people with their garments. Neither shall they shave their heads, nor suffer their locks to grow long. They shall only pull their heads. Neither shall any priest drink wine when they enter into the inner court. And I'm just bringing this out. You gotta, when you come before the Lord and you're doing a type of service, everything has to be correct. You have to be clean, man. Right? You got to be clean. You can't be dirty. This is just to shed more light on that. I'm not saying this is what you're going to be doing on the Shabbat day, but I'm just saying there's certain things that you have to abstain from, like lawful pleasures, man. Because the Lord is a very solemn entity. He's very serious, right? And he likes things done in a specific way, man. And a lot of you Israelites right now, you're not doing things the right way. So anyways, I hope this was edifying. Until next time, I just want to give all praises, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone of GMS that do teach well, and that I do learn this truth from. To you I say Shalom, and Shalom unto the hopeful elect, Kwame, Sha'ala, and above the ball. And this is the Son of Zion signing out. Lord willing, I'll come back with the next one. Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.